All right, welcome to the May 27th edition of the new contributor orientation meeting for Asia Pacific and European time zones. To repeat myself, this meeting is being recorded. It also follows the code of conduct of the Kubernetes project. Please feel welcome to ask questions in the chat. Today we will start with a presentation to orient you in the Kubernetes project, and we will talk about what is Kubernetes, how the Kubernetes community is structured, what it means to be a contributor, how to start contributing, and if we have time, we will go into contribution pitfalls. And also we have the ability to ask questions. Hi, I am your host. I'm Mario. I am part of the Kubernetes project. I'm the current co-chair of the special interest group Contributor Experience. I do FinOps for SIG Infra, and I am the comms sub-project tech lead. Let's start. The Kubernetes community is a very big group of people who work together to create and maintain the Kubernetes project. We have currently over 94,000 contributors that made over 4.5 million contributions, which got reviewed by 7,800 reviewers. What a contribution means and what a reviewer is, we will discover a little bit later in our presentation. Now, before we dive deeper into the community, some of you may be unfamiliar what Kubernetes is, what it does. So Kubernetes is an open source container orchestration tool. Open source means that it's made by people around the world, some of whom are paid to work on it, but many who are volunteers. And the code of the Kubernetes software is publicly available under an open source license that describes exactly who, when, and how the software and its source code can be used. And the cool thing is that Kubernetes is orchestrating containers. So let's quickly have a look what this means. So businesses have many applications they need to run. For example, they may have payroll applications, logistic applications, or company websites. These applications need to run somewhere. So businesses also have a lot of computers to run those applications on. And Kubernetes enables business to say, hey, Kubernetes, here's the computers I have, and here's the app I need to run. So you can describe on very level of detail on how that application needs to run on the hardware and what hardware it might need, and Kubernetes run this for you on a machine. It also provides some handy functionality for managing applications while it's running. For example, it can provide some help for process of updating applications to a newer version. And exactly how this all how we do all of this and how this is all working, that's basically what the Kubernetes maintainers are working to improve. Let's dive into our community structure. So the Kubernetes is an open source project, as mentioned, within the Cloud Native Computing Foundation, shortly called CNCF. The CNCF is a non-profit organization with the stated mission to make cloud ubiquitous. To that end, they support many cloud projects, and they enable companies to run applications in the cloud. The CNCF provides a variety of guidance and support to its projects, including legal support, code of conduct, help with logos, copyright, and so on and so forth. The pyramid below basically shows, or the pyramid below the CNCF represents the structure of the Kubernetes community. At the top, interfering the most with the CNCF and presiding over various topics that affect the entire community and the project is the steering committee. This is a body of 7 members who are elected Kubernetes org members. We will go over what org member means in a short bit of time. With a project that big, there are many different concepts within the project that need unique skills and knowledge. For example, the way Kubernetes nodes work, where workloads are run, that's there are different areas of expertise. Meanwhile, the challenge of writing and maintaining Kubernetes docs needs folks with different expertise. People who work on specific areas of the specific group gathered together in what is called a special interest group, or SIG. These break up into work in building and maintaining the Kubernetes project that is a more reliable or smaller chunk. Sometimes even those areas are too big, and also we need attention that are both very cut across SIGs. And basically, that's when we split out work into something that we call working groups. A working group is generally temporary, created to address a specific issue, and then it's meant to disappear as a focus group once the topic is sufficiently addressed by any SIG. A defining characteristic of a working group is that they generally don't own any code or feature, at least not in long term. Working groups are either will be owned by one or more SIGs, and they will then basically, when they dissolve, merge into one of those SIGs, unless if the working group becomes a SIG itself, which also happens occasionally. But even the work of a SIG can be quite broad in scope. There can be hundreds of contributors to a single SIG, and so SIG further break down their work into sub-projects. Currently, we have 24 special interest groups, 7 working groups, and 3 committees in the Kubernetes community. We can further group the SIGs and working groups by their scope. Some groups operate on a project level, and all other work in the project depends on them. Some groups work in a horizontal level, meaning that they have technical focus that is both deep and broad, and on core functionalities from a project architecture perspective. Vertical groups have deep, specific technical focus that depends on the work of horizontal groups. And of course, both horizontal and vertical groups are dependent on the work of the project groups. Here's a diagram of all of the SIGs and working groups that we currently have in the Kubernetes project. To just call out a few, we have SIG release and SIG docs, who work you might know and have seen in the past, and they operate on a project scope. So you may not have heard it, but you probably have encountered the work of SIG API machinery and SIG auth before. We consider these groups to be horizontal groups, and in the vertical groups you can find lots of familiar concepts like autoscaling, scheduling, networking, and node. You can always come back to this diagram later when you are exploring our groups and how to contribute to them. Also, feel free to ask questions about these during the Q&A or in chat if you want to get any knowledge about them. Now you've learned basically how the community is structured. So let's get started where you might fit into this. Yeah, many reasons for people for contributing to Kubernetes community. For some, it's their job require contributing. There are also contributors who work with the community on a purely volunteer base. There are also those who are somewhere in the middle where their work needs them to contribute sometimes, but they also do extra work for the community outside of their job. So why do so many people contribute without getting paid? They may want to grow a specific skill for their resume, or may want to meet people who are working in the industry. Also, maybe they want to just think, or they just think the technology is cool and they want to deep dive and help build it, or sometimes just want to be part of a community and work towards a similar goal. The most important thing is that you should think about why you want to contribute. As you get more and more engaged with the community, you will get more and more out of it. And it makes it easier if you can especially tell exactly people what you want and what you can do. And that's also for us then more easy to help you and find work opportunities for you, and then those connections will benefit you the most. Regardless of why you're interested in contributing, you're probably wondering what it means to be a contributor. To answer the question of what it means to be a contributor, let's first explore what counts as a contribution. The truth is that any work that you do to support the project is a welcome and valued contribution to the community. That sounds really broad and vague, but it's important. There's a lot of work contributors do behind the scenes to make the project run, and it's certainly not all writing code and making pull requests to GitHub. That said, it can certainly help to have some examples. Here are a few you might have thought of and some you might have not. For example, did you start off by posting a hello message in the Kubernetes new contributor Slack channel? That's already a contribution. Have you commented on an issue or proposal for a new feature? Have you shared your thoughts or opinions? That's also a contribution. Even watching or attending this meeting right now is a contribution. As a community, we try the best to acknowledge and appreciate contributions to the community, but it's, as you saw, it's so vague and varied. What can be counted as a contribution, then what it means to be a contributor. There are varying levels of being a contributor. You might remember our slide earlier where we mentioned contributors and reviewers. We will have a look in more detail on this. Starting on the bottom, anyone can be a contributor. If you do any of the things mentioned on the previous slide and more, you're already a contributor. If you're contributing to the community in any way, then you might be what it's called a non-member contributor. This means that you pop into the community and contribute likely in a small and disconnected way. But if you really want to get involved with the community, you might want to go for org membership. An org member refers to a member of the Kubernetes organization on GitHub. Being an org member gives you higher privileges to interact with tools and contributions used to do their work, like Prowlbot in GitHub, which helps us apply labels and configuring issues using GitHub comments. Having org membership is a sign that you are active and engaged contributor who intends to contribute in a more structured way within the community. And you're not just picking up a single task or asking a one-off question. You're probably developing expertise in a certain area of the project. You might be contributing to one or more subprojects or 6 in a consistent and measurable way. This means that you are now ready to become an org member. When other contributors you work with are familiar with you and your work and will vouch for you as a sponsor and sponsor your request for membership. So you need 2 other members of the community to vouch for you as a sponsor to become an org member. But this usually happens automatically once you start contributing. Beyond becoming an org member, there are increasing levels of trust and ownership and responsibilities that you could choose to pursue. Once you've been engaged in an area for a while, you might have enough knowledge to help review contributions or pull requests from other contributors. Then you're becoming a reviewer. Eventually, you might be trusted enough to have the final say on whether some code is merged or a contribution accepted and displayed on something like the Kubernetes IO website. Then you would be an approver. If you become a strong expert in a specific area who is highly trusted, regardless of your expertise, you might take on new responsibilities. You might become the person others come to with questions, and you might lead triage sessions or other work for that area. At that point, you become a sub-project owner. If you're an expert who starts leading things in that area, you might also take on responsibilities for resources within that area and how they related to other parts of the project. For example, you might take responsibility for the README file or of defining a whole sub-project, which is basically where people go and learn about it. And you might become the contact person who triages requests of this specific part of the project. At that point, you become a sub-project lead. And if you become a strong expert in a specific area who is highly trusted, if you're then becoming an expert who is highly trusted and who is leading a whole sub-project, then you're doing already a considerable chunk of work within a SIG. You're probably interacting and collaborating with leads and other sub-projects, and you're probably developing a pretty strong sense of mission objective. And at this point, you may become a chair or a tech lead of an entire special interest group. If you remember our community structure from earlier, you might wonder if becoming a member of the steering committee might be a next step. But steering is an elected position, so you can actually run for steering at any point past org membership. But you will be more likely to get elected by when other contributors know you and you have done more in the project. The ladder looks like the one true path to go forward with them, but I want to remind you that there's no single path for your journey. Most contributors end up contributing in multiple areas of the project. Some people even develop ownership in different SIGs at the same time. Just because you're learning and contributing in one SIG doesn't mean that you can check out another. Remember, most contributors are at least partially volunteers. Almost everyone who's contributing is doing it because they love it. So look around what you like and do that. Now, the most important question why you're probably here is how I can start contributing. The fastest and easiest way to contribute is to find a SIG that suits you or a sub-project that interests you and getting involved there. That might not mean that you immediately take an issue and say, hey, I want to start writing code. Often it means getting involved in meetings, joining meetings, reading issues about existing issues, and just generally start to get a feel what the group or the sub-project does. To stay up to date on what's going on in the community, you want to join the Slack and the Kubernetes developer groups, Google Groups thing. These tools are primary ways to community where we communicate with the community and where discussions are happening, because most of the stuff is working asynchronously. So let's learn about SIGs. Where can you find information about SIGs? The easiest way is to go to github.com/kubernetes/community or to go to git.kds.io/community. And there you can basically find a repository with folders for each of the SIGs and working groups that we currently have in the project. When you go in each of the SIG folders, there is a README file. At the top of the README file, you'll find a brief summary on what the SIG is focusing on, and it's likely that it will link to any other important information and also gives you a high-level understanding of what this SIG is actually doing. Below, there's the summary of the group. You'll find information about when the group meets. Attending meetings, as mentioned, is also a good way to learn to get into the group and also what it does and how they are working. Attending meetings is also the best way to get known to the people who are working in the project and also for them to get known to you. You will find information about SIGs leadership in the document. Most SIGs have both a concept of chairs and tech leads. These leaders are the same level of trust and responsibility, but likely own different types of tasks for supporting the SIG. Chairs tend to do more project management work for the SIG, while tech leads tend to do more architectural leadership, like managing repos and certain kinds of technical decision and processes. Each SIG defines what those roles mean by themselves, and each will be lead a little bit different. You will also find contact information for the SIGs. Most SIGs in Kubernetes do a lot of asynchronous communication, as mentioned, in their channel within the Kubernetes Slack, which you can join by visiting slack.kds.io. Each SIG also, as mentioned, has a mailing list. Important announcements will basically go out in the via the mailing list. And there you can also will get automatically the calendar invite for all of the meetings. You'll also find information about where to find issues, PRs related to the SIG, and all other informations like GitHub teams that are part of the SIG in this README file. Also, every contributor should join the Kubernetes Dev Google group. That's our main Google mailing list group, and this is basically gives you a lot of information that are generally coming in from across the project. So when you look at the SIG folder, it gives you a lot of information about the specific SIGs. But when you want to find information about all of the SIG meetings, we also have our Kubernetes community website, which is k8s.dev. And within k8s.dev, we have a page which lists all of our meetings by going to /calendar. With /calendar, you see a list of all meetings, and basically when you click on one of them, you can open up the calendar invite directly for your calendar. We have a lot of, or some of the SIGs started to have meetings for APAC friendly and US friendly times. So a lot of SIGs now have 2 meetings. Now you've known how the community is structured and where you could fit in. Now let's start looking into current work opportunities where people are looking for help to work on specific stuff in our Kubernetes project. So we have some evergreen opportunities. Evergreen opportunities are basically opportunities where you can that are always present. So when we have a look at most of the meetings are always looking for note takers. So note takers is you pop in the meeting and usually they ask in the beginning if anyone is there to take notes. Don't stress yourself. It's basically a joint effort. So most of the just write down what you hear. It is totally okay if you don't understand all of the stuff that is being mentioned. You can also always ask questions, and they are happy to also give information inside of the meeting. And this basically also helps to get a first grab and understanding. For the SIG contributor experience, we have something that is called a Spotlight block. This is a part of the sub-project for comms. There we have no experience required. It's basically you talk to a SIG, interview them, and then you write a blog post that is then published usually on the kubernetes.dev website and on the kubernetes.io website. So you would even have a named published blog entry on the Kubernetes.io website. For Maintainer Summit, we are usually looking for people who can review talks. The requirement here is, however, that you are already a org member. For SIG Docs, the SIG Docs has a different strategy for reviewing PRs. They have a Wrangler shadow program, which basically enables anyone to review PRs. And also they have a new contributor or meeting by themselves. It's the first Tuesday of the month at 10:30 UTC. More information can be found in k/community/SIGDocs in GitHub. For SIGArch, SIGArch is looking for generally for people to help with architecture and preparing caps and stuff like this. The requirement is that you need to spend a significant amount of time there to dive into and learn about the general Kubernetes overall project structure, so that you can support SIG-Arch there. The easiest way is to pop into their Slack channel and learn more. So now we are coming to tasks that require a certain skill set. Evergreen opportunities are great because they represent work that needs always be doing, but a lot of stuff is like this one-off style work, an issue that needs fixing or work on a new feature. Many of those types of tasks require certain skills to complete. As you might have seen, an open request that requires a skill that you want to develop might be good for you, but you should be wary of this. The most problem is that if a task was easy for someone already in a SIG to do, it would probably have already been done. Many of the requests with skill requirements are open because no one in the community currently has those skills, or so that they can teach them, or maybe because the people who do have the skills are way too busy and can't pick up more work, including helping others. But when you join the Kubernetes community with existing skills like certain programming languages or specific technical skills like networking or expertise in a certain cloud provider, these tasks could be a great opportunity for you to contribute to the community. So current calls for help with specific skills. For SIG-ContribX, we are looking for people who can do some website maintenance. We are currently running our website with Hugo and Doxy, and we are looking for people who can help updating Hugo and Doxy and or fixing the website, because we are running on a really old version. Also, we need some help in the mentoring program. There we basically require someone with organizational skills, planning and communication skills, and it's to help to set up and execute the Kubernetes group mentoring program. Also, we need someone to help with the community to keep track with the various mentoring programs we have, like LFX, Google Summer of Code, and so on. Basically, you need to know a little bit about the Kubernetes community and again, program management. Also, we have our own election tool, which is Electo. Electo is our homegrown software to run elections for the community, and skills that are required are Python and Flask. For SIG-Docs, we are desperately needing someone who helps to review blog entries. For this, you need to be familiar with our style guide, our content guide, how to submit a blog, and our review PR guideline. This is really like a critical thing where we really need people to help. There's also a Slack channel for which is called SIG-Docs-Blog. Also, for this localization sub-project, we are always looking for people who are familiar with English and at least one other language to help translating it. For SIG testing, we are looking for people who can help with PRAW. They should know how PRAW is working. And also for SIG testing, we are looking for help for the conformance testing tool Hydrophone. And that can basically help extend it and give feedback. For SIG networking, we are looking for people who help to implement Gateway API or to build the AngularNS and Nix Gateway API implementation from scratch. Of course, then you need to have Go knowledge. Also, we are looking for API reviewers, but there you need to have a longer understanding with the project itself. For SIG release, we are looking for people who can help us release or look at the release automation. Coding and scripting there's required, and willingness to develop the familiarity with our release process. For SIG security, we are looking for people that are familiar with CVEs and security concepts, and basically help the Kubernetes project to understand and address CVEs. Any questions so far? Going once, going twice, going thrice. So then let's have a quick look in our common contribution pitfalls. The problem is a lot of people fall into the good first issue trap. The scenario goes like this. You are a new prospective contributor and you want to do your mark on the community, and you find an issue which is labeled good first issue, and you think, yay, I claim this and I write some code and then have contributed to Kubernetes. Let's get back a step. Once you pick that up, a good first issue is how are you going to complete it? I mentioned earlier the Kubernetes community uses tools like Prow to help us manage issues. Are you familiar with the bot? Is it fine? It's fine if you're not. Maybe you'll just start writing code. Those reviewers, approvers, and owners we mentioned will appear to make sure the issues has the right labels and stuff on it. Once you've written your code, you'll also need to get their attention to review your PR. Remember, there's a lot more contributors than there are reviewers. When you make your PR, reviewers and approvers will automatically be assigned. But what if there's an issue with your code? You might need to go back and forth with the reviewers on GitHub. Are you comfortable using comments and pull requests and to get your work to completion? Most good first issues that get picked up by new non-contributor members never make it to completion. The code never gets checked in, and then the community has all those stale issues and PRs sitting around for work we usually really need done. But the person got lost and ended up abandoning their contribution halfway. Then those reviewers and approvers and owners have to go through the process of triaging the issue and opening it again, or whatever we need to do to do it, to fix it again. You can avoid this by getting stuck in this trap by joining a SIG, sticking with it, and when you know the people you're working with and the goals you work towards, you can be a valuable part of not just doing the work, but also make sure the work gets done. And that's basically the most important thing to do. So join meetings, talk to the people, get involved this way, because then people know you and then they can also guide you through your first contribution, especially if it's in the coding field. This was a lot of information, and it's just the orientation meeting. When you join your first SIG meeting, you're probably going to get overwhelmed even more. A lot of SIG meetings exist for active existing contributors to collaborate with each other on active in-progress work. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't join as a new contributor. You will learn faster by joining these meetings and watching the process in action, but it might mean that you feel left out and lost for first few times. Don't be afraid to ask questions by speaking up, asking in chat, or asking in the SIG or sub-project Slack later. The Kubernetes community is a big and diverse place. It's diverse in terms of people, skills, technology, and so much more. It might take you a while to find a place that clicks with you. There might be particular SIG or sub-projects where you find more opportunities to build the skills or connections that are most important to you. Don't forget that you can move around and explore other groups within the project. Most contributors end up contributing in multiple areas, and many find a particular area that they dive to. No two contributors have the same journey, so you'll need to explore to find the best place for you. Regardless of which areas you explore, we need your help, and we are glad that you're here. So we talked a lot about a lot of stuff today. To get started in the Kubernetes community means also learning a lot of basic tools, processes, structures, and more. check out those links and refer to them as often as you grow. Inside of the invite of the meeting, you'll find a direct link to the GitHub repository where you can also find the slides of this presentation. All of those links then are there clickable. We are happy that you're here, and we hope that you contribute to the project, and we will see each other at some point at some maintainer summit or maybe in some of the project meetings. And now we have a little bit more time for questions.
Hi, this is Venkatesh, and I just joined late a bit. So where do we find all these links? I mean, basically,
Inside
what-
of the invite of the meeting, there when you have the appointment in your calendar, there's a link. There are links for the GitHub. There are links for the slides and also links for the meeting resource. But I can also put it in the chat. Basically, there you can find all of the information that I shared today.
Perfect. Yeah.
So the main takeaway from the meeting would be to join a SIG working group. It's not so much joining them, but it's joining a meeting of them. So you basically you look into what interests you the most, and what is most important for you. And as mentioned, give me. So when you are in GitHub and you go to community, you have all of the different SIGs, and you can basically read up, for example, hey, what does SIG Windows do? SIG Windows focuses on supporting Windows nodes and scheduling Windows containers in Kubernetes. And then you can basically, if this is interesting for you, you can find where's my meeting and join their meeting, and then get a find out what to do there. And I think that's the best and the easiest way to get started. Yeah, follow might be the better term. Yeah, and also all of those SIGs have Slack channels, so you can just pop in their Slack channel and say hi and say you're interested in joining or in helping, and people are usually friendly. It takes sometimes a little bit of time until they respond because everything is asynchronous, everyone is in different time zones, but yeah. Any other question? If not, I am really, really thankful for you being here and listening to my mostly monologue. I hope to see you in some other meeting. Oh, there's one more question. What are the minimum prerequisites to get started? As mentioned, Divya, I think you joined late. There are none, because we require so different skills and so different skill sets throughout the project, that we also have a lot of stuff which is non-code contribution. We also have a broad variety of people who are contributing. So from students to retired people in retirement to people that are just doing it for their work. They are so different areas that there's not a minimum requirement that we have. I would say the minimum requirement that we would hope to have is people sticking with the project and doing continuous work and help with it. I recommend that you just read through the different SIGs, find if anything is interesting for you, and then just get started. All right. Thank you, everyone. it was nice seeing you. I hope to see you in some of the other meetings that I am part of, or maybe at one point at one of the maintainer summits. Have an amazing day and see you around.